it on my desk. But they're $22 and it comes with a remote to start and stop the video.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen people do that because they use their phone and they'll switch the camera and they'll have it positioned in front of their computer, so they can just flip screen. So that you're looking at me, then I can flip it, and now you're looking at my computer that I got positioned so you can be able to see slides.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, there's a ton of different things. You can even there's an app for, I have an iPhone, there's an app for the iPhone called Multicam, and you can connect up to 6 different Apple devices and switch between all of the cameras during your broadcast. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So do you have to hook your phone up to your computer and to the iPad kind of things, and just
so it's an app that's on either the phone or the iPad, and it detects any Apple device that's connected on the same Wi-Fi network.
Okay.
And then if it's on the same Wi-Fi network, the app will pick it up, and then it controls the camera between all the devices.
Oh, it's got to be turned on and pointed in the right direction, right?
Well, yeah. Well, what you would do is put, like, I've used it. What I did is I had a couple selfie sticks, and I put a couple different iPhones in the selfie sticks. So one was on the whiteboard, one was on me, and then one was on my guest.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So then you can switch just like a television show in between the different cameras based on what you're doing.
What was that called?
Let me look it up. Hold on. I have it right here in my video files. It's called Multicam. Looks like that. The little one on the bottom that says record.
Okay.
Yep, that one. Looks just like that. Called Multicam.
All right, we'll look for that.
Yeah, that one's fun. That you can do some fun stuff with it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
You could do that, like on the PC. I use a software called ManyCam. It's like $40 for the software, but what ManyCam does when you're doing a hangout or a broadcast, you're recording something, it allows you to set up different cameras for different things. Oh, the troops are asking, is it now or is it 7? Well, here's the thing, guys, and I apologize. Here's what happened. Originally, it was for 7. This week, I brought on a new VA who's going to be helping me with the whole back end and all of the stuff that happens for this show, for this broadcast. And what I didn't catch was that she had sent out all the marketing and scheduled it for 6 p.m. And I had sent out marketing and did some postings and things for 7 p.m. So graciously at 5:30, I had messaged Gary and said, we had an oopsie. Are you by any chance available at 6 instead of 7? And he agreed. So we're here at 6 instead of 7. So there you go. That's what happens in the world sometimes.
And if we need to, we'll stay until 8 to cover both audiences.
And yeah, the show must go on. Just sometimes how it rolls and all of that. Ronnie's asking, it will be recorded. Yep, Ronnie, everything that we do gets recorded. You can come back to the group later and just click on the video and the replay will play just like that. So just head on back to the group. And I don't know, Gary, there's some lady here named Carol. She says you're looking good. She's got lots of smiley faces. Carol is Gary's wife. If you didn't notice, the same last name.
Oh, okay. That's not a sister, so okay, that's good.
Yeah, well, or cousins, depending on what state. I don't know, Gary, after all these years, you still got it. How long have you known your wife for a while? How long have you known your wife?
July 4th, 2012 was when we met.
Nice.
No, it was 2012. No, 4. So we got married on 12/12/04. So we got married about 7-8 months after we met. So it was in 4. So we're coming up on 12 years. On December 12th will be our 12th anniversary.
Wow. So you met her on the 4th of July.
On that weekend, yeah, because
Nice.
it was, yeah. I had online. It's a whole different story, but it kind of relates to what we'll talk about Twitter. But we met on dating profiles.
Ah.
I was working in hospitality, and with 4th of July weekend, I wasn't going to get off, so I only had one day before the holiday, for a long holiday, before we could meet. So then we met, and then things just sort of exploded from there.
Literally on the 4th of July.
Yeah. And there's been fireworks ever since.
I met my husband on AOL personals way back in 1999. Long time ago.
Well, online dating is really amazing because it's, I had a lot of profiles up.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, even going back into, I think it was about 1990, I had gone back to school to get my marketing degree. And one of the courses was a business management course. And my instructor saw that I was doing dating profiles, and that time it was on a magazine. She put it in a magazine, and people had to respond with a letter and go through that whole process.
I remember that.
You're too young.
No, they had that when I was in college. I went to college in Boston, and they had a singles magazine that you could pick up for free at the subway station. And you would mail it to a mailbox number, like a P.O. box number that was tied to the ad.
Yep. And what it was is I did a paper on it. And you just look at it because, in a sense, people are applying for a position. They're applying for a job. So you look at their, their letter, the picture that they send, all the different things. We had people that had notebook paper that was ripped out that still had the phrase on it, and a lot of different things. So there's just a lot of different aspects, and it's even on Twitter. You get that first impression, and you're looking to have people like you and want to be able to be attracted to you.
Yes. So I mean, I guess social media now is attracting clients is a lot like the online dating. Although I wish that in my business, my social media would go as well as online dating. So quick, funny story, the things that you never knew about Jessica. So I had just moved from Boston to South Florida, and I put an ad on AOL Personals under the Seeking Friends ad space at that time. And I was just like, hey, I'm new to the area. I'm looking to meet new people, blah, blah, blah. I like, bike riding. I want to learn scuba diving and all this stuff. So I had this cute little ad like that. And my title at the time, now you got to remember, I was just fresh out of college. So my title was actually, my handle on AOL was Amazon Goddess. And so I posted this ad, and I went to work, and then I came home from work, and I had like over 1,000 email messages in my inbox. Now, there wasn't spam in 1999, so it was like very unusual to have more than just a few emails in your inbox because people were not using email for marketing at that time. And so I'm like, 1,000 emails, something must be broken or whatever. So I clicked on it, and there was truly over 1,000 emails in my inbox. So I'm like, what is this? So I start opening the emails, and some of them were profane, and to be nice.
Oh yeah.
Some of them were nice, and most of them were not. And I was like, what is this? And then I hit one, and it said, hey, congratulations on being the AOL pick of the day. I saw your photo on the front page of AOL. So I'm like, what? Wait a minute here. So I go back to the front page of AOL, and there on the front page is this big photo of me, and it says Amazon Goddess. And it was advertising AOL to all of South Florida. So everyone who logged into AOL saw me. And I'm like, oh no. So I deleted all the emails that were in there and all of that. But that was total just stroke of luck. at that. But if I got 1,000 emails today of people all interested in talking with me, that would be kind of good.
Well, but just look at that tagline though. It's again like
Yep.
tweets. You're
I
catching
was
you're catching somebody's attention. So a lot of people who are single, they're looking for goddesses and Amazon. So they're attracted to a larger, taller woman, and so it's like this is what they want.
Yes. So, I was good at subject lines before I even knew I was good at subject lines.
So now you just have to be able to narrow the focus a little bit so you get the targeted client that you want.
Yeah. Well, I was good at writing copy that was persuasive because, and my images were probably, at that point working well. So I kind of was, pre-Facebook ad. And look where I am now, creating videos and Facebook ads. But, out of that story, what happened next was I deleted all the emails, 1,000 of them. Then I started IMing, instant messaging, with one of my friends back home. And then I heard, you remember AOL had that little voice, "You've got mail," with like the guy's voice. And I was like, oh no, more mail. And I go back in and there's one message in the inbox. And I went to delete it. And when I went to delete it, I clicked on it by accident and the email opened up and it was from Dan, and who is now my husband. And the email was so sweet. It was like, hey, I know what it's like to move to the area. I, moved here from Chicago, and I'm a master scuba diver and I love bikes. And if you don't have a bike, I have 3 sisters, and I'm sure one of them would loan you a bike. And I'd like to, invite you to come out to my favorite spot for mountain bike riding and blah, blah, blah. And, I'd like to meet you. And I'm like, oh, well, finally a normal, nice guy. So I answered him back, and we've been together ever since.
Cool. Excellent.
So yeah, skills in marketing that you don't even know you have. So a good lesson in trusting your abilities.
Exactly. Yep. No, we all have it. It's like Regis on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Trust that first instinct. Trust that gut.
Yep. Trust your gut in marketing and all of that. Just write compelling copy and call yourself a goddess if you want to call yourself a goddess. It just may work out.
So do you get residuals from Amazon? Because that was pre-Amazon, right? Was that pre-Amazon online, the store?
Yeah, that was pre-everything online, pretty much. The only game player at that point was AOL. I mean, like everyone in the country had to have AOL to accomplish anything. So I know, wild word. Carol says that's a great story, Just Dan. You knew you were a goddess. Yeah, it's really the biggest part of marketing and all that is really learning to trust yourself and trust your gut, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's Twitter, whether it's online dating, and writing a compelling subject line for that.
It's even when I've talked to people in some of the mastermind groups and other clients that I work with too, is they have to develop that trust.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer, you do not jump out of comfort zones. You expand comfort zones.
Yes.
You jump out like a rubber band, it's snapping back, and you can't do it. So you need to expand and just do things that you know that you're going to be able to have small successes at, that your comfort zone gets growing and just keeps getting a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
If you start exercising, you don't start lifting 400 pounds, the first minute in the gym. You go to the 5 or 10 and then just sort of build up, and you build up that confidence and just go through there and just copy what other people are doing. That was one of the best advices that I got is to go get a swipe file, go look at your emails. What subject lines get your attention, copy those out, put them in a swipe file, and just copy the pattern. You could just 10 ways to do this. It's like, okay, well, 10 ways to master the Twitterverse. There are formulas to be able to do that, and it's not that hard to be able to do anymore. But, I think once you get that message to do something, you're prepared to do it, or the people who are around you are available to be able to help you do it. So, again, it's trusting your gut and knowing that the universe has provided you the abilities to do it, 1, on your own, or 2, within your reach, there are people who can help.
You know, you brought up a really good point, which is a lot of people will come on and they'll be like, hey, I want to do social media. And then they look at the people who've been doing it for a really long time and they feel overwhelmed. And they're like, well, I'm here and they're way over there and I need to keep up with the Joneses and I'm feeling overwhelmed. So a lot of times they'll either A, not do anything because it's out of their comfort zone, or B, they try and hire someone who to do it for them, which isn't really their voice, and it doesn't really work all that well. Someone who's in that spot where they're like, hey, I really want to do this. I want to take a bite. Can you break it down a little bit into bite-sized chunks of like, where do you start with this?
Well, start out by what is your purpose of being here? What are you here for? And declare your purpose. It's just like your mission statement, the keywords that you use on your website, all of those things is like, okay, so what are you here to be able to do? But I think one of the biggest things that I've learned on social media is people are online to solve their problems and to
Yes.
satisfy their interests. They don't give a hoot about that you got a new program, you got a new class, you got a new book. They don't care unless they find out that it can solve their problem. So once you can be able to marry your purpose into the problems that you solve for people, that's good. That's your profile. That's what you put out there because that profile is search engine. It's optimized. You can put those
Yeah.
keywords in. What are Google? If you're typing in, I want a Twitter expert. Then Twitter expert better be in my profile. Otherwise, I'm not coming up in searches for that.
Bingo. Your Twitter expert should be in all your social media profiles because
Yep.
people are going to
Yep.
check you out. You know, I mean, I've had conferences contact me and be like, hey, we saw you on YouTube, we saw you on this, but your Twitter wasn't enough. We have minimum qualifications to speak at our event. And I was like, oh, I better fix that. you know, or hey, we looked at your LinkedIn and your profile was blank. I'm like, yeah, I filled it out in like 8 years ago. you
Well,
know,
but that's going on because you've already established yourself. You're already crawled up that ladder several rungs. But for somebody new, these are good points to be able to realize is it is overwhelming.
yeah, it's a
So
lot.
pick one first. Pick one social media site that you resonate best with, that your prospects are more apt to be able to be there, and work that and master that. And then you can be able to take those same skills and be able to bring it over to all the other ones. You know, a lot of the Twitter stuff that I teach, it's relationship marketing. It works across works across every single website, works online and offline, and it's just easy. But I think people get overwhelmed and get scared and ask people to help. It's that's really one of the things I love about Twitter is accessibility, because a lot of the people who are successful, you can write to them and you can be able to get responses. It always
Yeah.
surprises me because I don't think that I'm that far, but when I respond to somebody who's just started on Twitter, they go, "Oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you," and it's like, oh, okay, 140,000 is going through there, and I'm just scratching my way through and doing what I can to be able to teach what I've learned while I continue to grow. But Twitter is the most accessible and easy way to be able to get in contact with people and ask them, how did you do it? Or, they probably have ebooks or they have materials to be able to do
Yeah.
that you can be able to share and go through there. So that's another thing is once you get your profile, your searches, go look for people who have influenced you or who are leaders in your niche and go follow them.
hmm
And watch what they're doing well and duplicate that, and just you'll learn to be able to find your voice. You know, one of the biggest mistakes people make is when they get on, they try to sell something right away, and you haven't earned the
Yeah.
right. You haven't earned the right to be able to sell, because every tweet's an audition, and people are always looking at you. They want to be able to find out, are you real? Are you authentic? Are you here for other people, or are you here just to be able to sell your stuff? And the
yeah.
latter tends to be able to get you ignored. So, I kind of always use a story of NPR and PBS. You know, they provide quality content 24/7, 365. So the couple times a year they do fundraisers, you don't mind it because they've earned the right to be able to ask for your help. So, my suggestion is don't try to sell or promote any of your stuff until you got 2,000 tweets and 2,000 followers. Because I found it takes
Ah,
that long to be able to find your voice, to be able to get your thoughts out of your head onto a keyboard in less than 100 characters, 120 characters, so you can leave room for retweets and a lot of those other things. And it's just, people go too fast, and you got to be able to be willing to take your time and invest it. It's like we talked about in other relationship aspects. It's a marathon. Our customers want to be seduced, not molested.
they
So let's
don't want
just
1,000 emails in their inbox with naughty pictures.
right. Or if you sign up for somebody's ebook and you get, I think, I signed up for an ebook and then I got 40 messages in the next 20 days.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like too much. It's like, okay, well, all right, you're obviously not interested in me, so unsubscribe and you just go find people who are going to be interested. But
Yeah.
that's some of the biggest things. And I think one of the other huge factors for people to start is to engage. You need
Hmm.
to be able to, you can't come out and say, one of the strategies is, well, ask a question. So, kind of there's a thinking of, I'm going to ask a question like you would say, okay, what do you want to learn about video? Okay, it's a sort of a self-fulfilling question because you want them to ask questions that you can be able to provide an answer for from your service. But again, people are waiting to be able to see how authentic you are. They're not going to be able to respond until they see you responding to somebody else's questions, until they see you responding to other people's influencers' tweets. They got to see that you're a real live voice so they can be able to have a very secure idea that when they reach out to you, or if they feel good enough to be able to refer you, that they know what to expect.
Hmm.
That's what I think the magic of social media is I know that I'm not going to do business with all the people who are connected to me, but I want to be able to create a good relationship, trust and rapport that they know and they can feel comfortable that if they find somebody who needs me, what I can be able to provide them, that they can feel comfortable referring me. And Twitter gives us that opportunity that we can create that relationship by providing good quality tweets throughout the day and over the years. It's just presence building.
Yeah, it really, and the connections that you have and all that, what I'm finding now is that I have people who saw me speak 3 years ago. And they're like, hey, I saw you speak 3 years ago, and I've been following you on social media ever since then. I see your tweets and I see your Facebook posts, and I watch your videos when you put them out. And hey, I think I'd like to talk to you about working with you. And that was 3 years.
Long-term marathon thinking.
Yeah.
It just takes a while. It's using analogy. It's we talked about dating, right? So if you try to close the deal on the first date, you may have some fun, but the probabilities of long-term relationships are small.
Yeah.
But relationships that develop over time, where it's 5, 10, 20, 30 dates before the deal's closed, that has a better chance of being able to do it. And they often say the best place to be able to generate more income from your business is from existing customers.
Hmm.
So once they've already trusted you, you can just sort of keep going back and finding out what they need to create your next product, and just run I haven't taken enough chances, and I think I'm going to start taking more chances in some of the other side projects that I'm doing and other ways that I know that I can help people. But I'm confident now that I have the presence, the support, the reputation that I could take a couple of those chances. And if they don't work, I'll just pull them off and we'll keep trying something else. But suggested when you're starting is pick one stream and
Yeah.
stay on one. You know, if you're going to be about videos, then just be all about videos.
And be consistent with it. And
Oh,
the other thing too is that people think that, oh, I'm a business person, I shouldn't put anything personal on there. I should always talk about business stuff.
oh no, no, no,
It
no, no,
drives me
no, no.
crazy.
Oh, look at what social media has done. It's leveled the playing field. You know, I know your relationship. And you work with Tony Robbins quite a bit.
Yep.
You know, Tony Robbins and I have the same amount of characters in a tweet to be able to use to cost the people, and it's not costing either of us anything other than the time to be able to put it out. But that's leveled the playing field, and I think what's happening is there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are doing the exact same thing that we're doing. By sharing something personal about ourselves, we're giving those prospects a bridge to cross. They've got more choices. They got all the choices now, and they're looking for relationships. They want to be able to connect with you, and they want to be able to find something that they can directly relate to. I have clients that, big Star Wars fan or Star Trek fans.
Yep.
And they started sharing those materials, and they got people connected to them because of that interest in those features. And one guy said, well, yeah, hey, I want to do business with you. And, it was from one of the islands. Said, I want to do business with you because you're original Trekkie.
Oh, what happened? There you go. We lost your video for a sec.
My 30-minute reminder for our original start time just came up.
Ah. There you go. It's just one of them days.
But it's really amazing because if you put that person, because people are looking for that connection. So if you love cats, pets,
yep.
something like that, you want to be able to be smart, where you're not parading your kids out there or living your whole life and letting the world know about that, because there are factors that safety factors you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
But bringing up some of your personal interests, Bob Berg used write about there was a cat that sort of adopted him, and he never liked cats, so he just started tweeting and writing Facebook posts about this cat that showed up and wouldn't leave. So and that just gets attention because that's human.
Yeah. It's that whole personalization of it. And I think that for some people, it's the vulnerability of the situation in social media. Like, oh, if I put it out there, and I hear this a lot with video, that, oh, I can't put myself on video because then what will people see? Or people will see me. And I'm like, they see you anyway.
Well, I think, it's a big thing to be able to get off, and I haven't done as much on video as I want to do because I still have some of those trepidations.
Yeah.
But by doing Skype and being able to be face to face and maybe learning, having a smaller picture of mine or covering up my picture. So now I'm just having a conversation with you and other people are listening, but really your mindset is it's just one-to-one.
Yeah.
Because it's, they talk about one-to-many, and you do get that one-to-many approach and result. But I think you best do it with the approach, hey, I'm just talking to one person at a time, and thousands of people can be able to see it at the same time, and they can stand up and step closer if they like.
Yeah, it really, for some people, it's a big deal to put yourself out there. It's something, and this is what a lot of what I talk about, and culturally, as kids, they're like, oh, kids should be seen and not heard, or, you better shut up and put up. I mean, how many sayings and things do you hear in our society that you're not supposed to talk about yourself? You're not supposed to blow your own horn, and all these things. And then here comes this social media where we're now like, oh yeah, you need to blow your own horn and do it on video too.
Well, yeah, but you can do it in a way that's of service
Yes.
instead of the bragging, and I think that's the differentiation we need to look at. You don't want to go out there and brag and say, "Oh, look at me, look what I accomplished," and there's a candidate for for a presidential candidate who will do that quite a lot.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I think that it's a confusion where toot your own horn. We're not supposed to brag versus has turned into we're not supposed to talk about ourselves and our wins and the awesome things that we do in a big way. And it's kind of this trickle down that I see happening and working with my clients and all of that. And now, with Twitter and tweets was 140 characters. I know I've had some clients come to me that are very successful on Twitter because it was 140 characters and they didn't have to do much and they could kind of still
Right.
hide behind it. And now with Periscope, they're like, hello, I've been following you for a few years and I think we need to talk now.
Well, I think that's what it is, and there's a couple different ways that I've sort of got around some of that trepidation, and that's first off, Twitter, because I grew up with those same things. Don't turn horn, don't talk about yourself, anything. I had a hard time pressing the enter button on sharing a blog post that had
Mm.
nothing to do with sales. It just had to do with a life lesson that that I wanted to be able to share. But I had a hard time pushing that button. So that's when I looked at leveraging some of the automation tools, Hootsuite and
Yes.
TweetDeck. You can be able to schedule some of those things, and that took away my anxiety to get get those messages out. And another way that you can be able to accomplish it, and this is great about Twitter, is once you find a group of people that you resonate with who have complementary services to you, is create a collaboration alliance and just look out for each other and to be able to support each other and be able to retweet each other's stuff, or to be able to just go in and be able to promote each other's things,
Yes.
because that kind of referral is much more effective than me going, "Hey, come and take my class." But if you took my class, or if you have enough experience with me and you say, "Hey, you should look at Gary's class," that's more effective. And what's win-win is that we can create affiliate thing. So you'd have your own link to be able to send them to my class, and then you would get rewarded from that, and you're providing an extra value to your audience who needs that, something that you don't do.
Yep.
And I just thought, if you have, and this is the kind of a marketing story that I heard about 2,000 years ago, right? This guy had a story. Guy had a story and he was out sharing it, and then he decided, okay, well, I can't get all the people, so let me go find 4 friends. So he got 4 friends, and it's not an MLM story. I know it sounds like it sounds like it, but then those 4 went and found 8 more guys that we know of, and they kept sharing the message. So thousands of years later, that message is still valid. So just imagine just that power of 4, 8, 12 people sharing your messages. And if you're all doing that for each other,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that reminds me of you read Bob Berg and the Go Giver story?
Yep. Absolutely.
And he did a book called The Go Giver Sells More. And in there, he told a story of a bunch of people who were unemployed. And they were getting together and sort of commiserating that they couldn't find work.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody brought the Go Giver in and they studied it and they said, okay, let's apply this. So they weren't allowed. They all promised, I'm not going to go look for a job for me. I'm going to go look for jobs for you and everybody else in the group. They wound up having more jobs than they had people in the group.
That's awesome.
So that's just the power of the collaboration. You can be able to find that. I think it's easier on Twitter because you can go find chats, you can use hashtags, you can follow conversations and connect with people who are all willing to do that. And we all want to be able to expand our reach and serve more people. So let's just find people who are thinking the same and look for ways to be able to help support them. It's Zig Ziglar. You'll get everything that you want by first helping other people get what they want. So it's my
Yep.
strategy, sticking with it, and it makes Twitter simple.
Yeah, so that makes sense to collaborate because you don't have to do it alone. There's people out there, who share and post. I mean, I scroll through and I'll be like, "Oh, that was great. I'm going to share that, or I'm going to do that," and it works.
Well, I know, I share a bunch of your stuff. I have a list in my Hootsuite of people that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So periodically I'll go scan that list and your stuff will be there, and the stuff that I like the best, I'm going to retweet it.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
that's another power of things in there, because you can, create the lists and connections, and you can view other people's lists.
Yeah, you see that a lot. So and so added you to the list and this list and
Yeah, it's, you just go look at, I have, lists of events that I've gone to. Other people, there are coaches. I've been fortunate to be named one of the top 100 coaches to follow on Twitter.
That's awesome.
So I go in things, and I go in there and I have all of those other coaches on a list. So when they tweet something else that's brilliant, I'm sharing that. People who are into healing arts, because of my background as a healer and massage therapist, I look, that conversation resonates with me as well. So I find those interests, and I find people who are tweeting about that. I put them in a list, and then I can, it really shortens your time, because if you can master using those lists, now you don't have to be able to sit there and scroll through the whole news feed of everybody that you're following. So just imagine if you're following a couple hundred, it could be overwhelming. But if you got 100,000 people, it's just mind-boggling, and you can't keep up. So you just give yourself permission to be able to stay connected to the conversations that you want to be able to have, that you can partake in, and knowing that your other messages are going to go out and touch the lives of people when they need it, and they're going to be able to reach back out to you because of it. But focus your time on creating lists and engaging in those conversations. One of my clients, who, of course, you said just learning that saved her about 30 hours a month.
Wow.
And being able to scan through tweets in order to find good stuff to be able to retweet. So right there's a valuable tip. Learn to be able to master the lists. You'll save a whole lot of time. You'll have a lot better content. Your audience will be attracted because they're going to see that you're providing good stuff. And it's also an opportunity to show, excuse me, will show your audience who you're connected to.
Yeah.
So that validates you even more. So, I'm going to, I'll do Bob Berg. I'll do some of my other coaches, Tony and Zig and Jim Rohn stuff. So, you'll just go there because those people have all influenced me. So I'm going to do that. And that just shows people, again, gives them another reason to like you more, to be able to want to work with you.
Gary Kissels just said, "Hey, why doesn't everybody follow each other on Twitter that's listening to this?" So I'm putting a post in to let everybody know to post their Twitter handle so that we can share it.
Yeah. And what we'll do is we can make a list, and then everybody can be on that list, and you can subscribe to that list and watch each other, and be able to have that content.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Mine's in there. Gary, what's yours? At Gary
Loper.
Gary Loper. Yeah, I had to Jessica Brace was gone. There's a chiropractor who's very good at online marketing too, and we have the same name. So it's kind of a race between us to get stuff, but she grabbed the Twitter handle long before I did.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't even know to be able to get your name is it's another key thing is, you want your first thing to be able to be your name, because that's, if you're going to introduce yourself, you're not introducing yourself as Firewalker Creative.
Right.
So they know you as Jessica Brace. They know me as Gary Loper. And, I'm fortunate I got on before any other Gary Lopers.
Yes.
There's one other guy in Dallas that does pipe organs.
Ah,
There's another guy in South Dakota that does pheasant hunts. So we're not related. There's another PhD somewhere. I forgot what he does, kind of nuclear science. But there's just amazing. But you need to go out and get your name, or at least some variation of your name.
yeah.
What
I have a client that does very advanced tax strategy for people in the higher income brackets. And his alter ego with the same exact name is a pretty raunchy comedian. So working with him on his social media has been interesting.
Well, you could always do something is maybe invert the name. So instead of Gary Loper, it'd be Loper Gary
Yeah, yeah,
or something. And so you create that differentiation, especially if it's too far apart. There's another guy. There's a Gary Wayne Loper, and he's in Houston. He's plays blues guitar. Been pretty successful doing that. But I got on before they all did. So when you type in Gary Loper,
it's become a very small world.
first three pages, I think they only get in once. But oh, is that?
That's a reminder that we're supposed to start at 7. Look at that.
Well, when we're talking about Twitter and how they can be able to be comfortable is because Twitter is overwhelming. You see that and getting your thoughts down.
Yeah.
But if you're out here for business, so there's a couple of rules, and especially now, is if you're out here for business, stay on business, bring your personality, but keep your religion and your politics off.
Yeah.
Because it's probably going to cost you potential customers. This was, back 4 years ago, I was considering doing a coaching program with somebody until I saw their political rant, which was contrary to mine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, I'm not working. I can't work with you because now I know, and I saw the veracity in which you shared some of those things. And so that's no longer a match. So if your product or service has a wide enough appeal, keep those things that are volatile topics to yourself. If your audience is exactly that same belief system, then go there. There's a lot of people who will be attracted to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually was speaking at a conference one time, and this woman came up to me with her whole application filled out to join my coaching program. She goes, I just have to ask you one question. And she asked if I was of a certain religious affiliation. And I said, no, I am not. I don't bring religion into what I teach. And she says, oh, then I can't work with you. And I was like, wow. I'm like, you make your world really small. But,
Well, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it was, it was just interesting. Well, it's a whole diversion. So, I just saw a thing about the origin of people.
of what people?
And they did, of all people.
Oh, yeah.
They did DNA samplings, and they went back and it's scientifically proven that all people had started from a tribe in Africa.
Yeah.
And all forms of DNA has stretched out, across the world as though that tribe in Africa as a foundation. So it really amazes because then you see another show that brings up, I think it's the different shades of America. It's a new CNN. So black reporter going into Klan stuff, and it's just amazing. When they think about this, it's like, how do you, if you know the science aspect, how do you say, okay, this is better, then that's better, and everything else, and we're the master beings? It's like, no, we're not. We're all part of the same thing.
Yeah, and that with social media becomes crazy debates. Whatever you're into, no matter what you're into, you can find a group for it somewhere online.
Well, exactly, and I think that when I started doing presentations about Twitter, Jack Dorsey heard an interview. He said, Twitter was designed as a global town square. So you imagine your town square where, farmers are coming in and they got their fresh picked crops on the back of the trucks, your candles, your sweaters, your jellies, whatever else. You got somebody else who's playing music, somebody's doing political rants or anything else. And so everybody's there, and we can wander around and find what we like. We don't have to stop anybody else from doing it, because there are corners, there's
Yep.
corners of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I started, I had a lot of escort services that followed me, and people say, "Oh my God, you got all." And I go, "Well, you wouldn't have known unless I told you." and two, they're business people. They've got souls. They've got, they want to connect. They want to be able to do it. They're providing the service. You may not agree with what the service they provide, but they're providing a service, and they're using their gifts and their abilities the best way. And if they resonate with my message, the business advice, Twitter advice that we can give them is universal. It works for everybody. Okay, another point that I wanted to be able to make with, on tweeting is, one, keep your religion and politics to yourself. But if you're on business, you're here for business, you want to be tweeting at least 20 times a day. And a lot of people say, 20 times a day. And remember, it's not about you. They're not all going to be about you. It's going to be, we're not tweeting about you until you have 2,000. But if you break that down, you should be looking at 8 to 10 retweets a day. So we talked about those lists, finding good stuff to be able to retweet, get that out there. You want to post probably like up to 5 articles a day. Now, those are articles that's not, if you're a nutritionist, this is not an article, a promotional thing that tells us that your juice cures Archonchus and the Bacchus. It's supportive things. So if your nutritional things, give us a paper from Johns Hopkins or Mayo Clinic, something that supports and establishes you as a resource for those health-related things. You want to be able to make, about 5 comments a day on other people's tweets. Compliment them. Hey, nice tweet, great reminder. I loved your blog. Something else. Everybody loves compliments, and that's a great icebreaker, because that just opens up the door. And then when you get there, then you get 80-20 rule. So then you got 2 or 4 tweets that can be promotional, and you want to be able to do that. And so 20 tweets a day, when you break it down that way, it becomes easy, and you're out there and you're reaching out and other focused. So were there other questions and some other stuff popping up there?
I am giving them good notes. I don't have any questions yet. I see people liking a lot of the things that I'm typing, but nobody's asking any questions yet.
Okay. Well, the next stage, and we talked about the engagement and being able to talk with people. And, even an influencer, somebody connected with me because, one, she saw me on Twitter for quite a while. She saw me in another Facebook group that I was in. And so she reached out to me and she goes, "Hey, I really like what you add to this Facebook group. I like what you tweet all the time. Can we talk?" So she was watching, she got through a compliment, and then she invited a conversation. Now, I don't remember if she retweeted me a lot, but that's another key thing to do, because you'll get on people's radar if you retweet them. I know a couple of people who will retweet Tony tactically to be able to get Tony to respond. And they've got it a couple times. They're not 100% sure that it is Tony or a representative of Tony, but they get a real response, which is rare from his accounts. But that's an important thing, is, use this as kind of, again, back to our dating scene. This is the bar. This is a social event. You're meeting people, connecting with them. So what do you do when you meet somebody at a bar and you want to get to know them better? Hey, let's go to Denny's. Let's grab some breakfast. Can I call you? Can I meet you again someplace? You're always asking for that next step. And that, the sales process that I learned was, it's just stage selling. So it's like, you move people to the next stage. So it's an introduction. So what's the next stage? So it's okay. The next stage would be going to breakfast. So what's the online equivalent to that? Inviting them to your website. Hey, check out my blog. Look at this. Join me on Facebook. Go there. And then so if you get there and you start watching each other for a while and say, hey, I really like that. Let's Skype. And then you can be able to bring that busy, hectic kind of pace into a one-to-one conversation with people. And I've just met people from around the world who were just amazing. It's just, I thought, wow, I thought I was so lonely in my thought that nobody else had thought like me. And I found a couple other people who were close because they came through tweets that way.
Yeah, people are watching. You don't think they are because it's sometimes a little silent out there, especially when you're first getting started. But they're there and they're listening. So
that's another important thing is like when you're doing presentations, anybody doing a presentation, averages are about 40 to 50% of the people have got their head down, they're taking notes. They're taking it all in, but they're not responding. You're not getting feedback. You're not getting that speaker energy, the feedback. Oh, can you give me so I can be able to keep going? That's just coming from a small percentage. And I think I saw a stat that was about over 40% of the active users, which is about 300 million a day on Twitter, are those watchers.
Are you done?
They're watching and absorbing, taking it all in. But you have to be able to keep in mind that those are influencers to their groups and their communities. And they're going to be able to introduce you and retweet your stuff and do a lot of other things that a lot of other people won't.
my visitor.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to be able to come in and get random hugs periodically.
Yeah. Yes, you can have some seaweed. No, please go. He's stealing my snack stash.
But yeah, it's just you got to be able to know that not all the response is going to be there. Because I shared this story with you a couple times. You just never know the impact of the tweets.
Mm-hmm.
I created a hashtag called Just for Today, hashtag affirmation. So there's a lot of daily steps for people to be able to make improvements in their lives, because you can't go from despair to joy in one leap. It's a process. You need 60 to 90 days to create that new habit. So I created like 800 of these affirmations that we put out there, and they're automated. But about 2 years ago, a girl wrote to me and she said, I can never thank you enough for what your tweets have done for me. So I asked her to write me. So, what can you tell me more? So she writes me and she tells me that she's got a debilitating disease and she was contemplating suicide. And so one of those Just for Today affirmations showed up in her stream. And so she decided not to take her life, to stay, to be able to do the best she can with her condition, and to be able to help other people with the same disability. So that's the power of a single tweet. I know that I have faith that these affirmations, these positive, inspirational messages are going out and making an impact in people's lives, whether I know it or not. I know that I was blessed that I got to be able to know that it's happened, but that gives me an extra responsibility because, I want to make the world a better place. I want to be able to help people feel better and to be able to have that impact. I don't know if I would ever get that on Facebook or LinkedIn or Google or any place else, but I know that it's happened on Twitter and it can happen, I believe, butterfly effect. So if we have a lot more people sharing a lot of positive energy, impacting people and not looking for feedback, it will come back to us in different ways. The universe will make sure, we get what we get what we need. But just go out there with a heart of service and looking to be able to help. And it's not, just put it out there for them. And again, that becomes one. It's a great service. They're great stories. But you also turn on a magnet, like you said, people are watching you and people are looking then to be able to want to do business with you because of the positive energy that you're putting out into the Twitter sphere. So there's a lot, those are a lot of things that I found success with this in, 8 years on Twitter. So I'm happy with that success and know that the impact that I've made.
And it's a good example because work with people on Twitter and you have your coaching programs and your courses and your strategy sessions and the things that you do, but yet you're putting good content out there, affirmations and positive things and all of that, which is far from business, but yet so related to business and who you are at the same time.
Right. And what it is, for me, I got started on Twitter. I was going through a depressed time because I had a job as a massage therapist doing massage for people with disabilities. The funding for that program was eliminated. I didn't know what I was going to do next. I got depressed. I fell into the couch. And one of the ways that I got off was that I had remembered that I had started studying personal development. I first met Tony Robbins through videotape and Dennis Waitley through videotape at a public speaking class when I went back to college. And that started my personal development journey. So, I've been collecting quotes. So I got up off the couch and started reading documents of these quotes. And I just started on Twitter just a couple months before. And I just said, well, let's start sharing some of these quotes. And it was selfish because I needed to pick myself up, but people were responding. And said, hey, thanks for that. There's a great reminder. I needed help. A lot of other things. I found myself doing little mini coaching sessions. And that's when I got a tap and said, Gary, you've been a coach since 1999. You haven't done a thing with it. So now you're going to be using Twitter as a coaching vehicle. And one of my coaching aspects is a mind mastery. And that's going to be one of my next program is the things that we need to be able to do to be able to fix our minds and control our thoughts and be able to do a lot of those other things that tend to get us in trouble, change our stories. So it's a lot of that focus, and I just find it's real, it's relationship, and that's why I, built my tagline was building better relationships, because it fits across everything else that I do, and it's there to be able to help serve people, have them be better in all of their relationships, their personal, their business, and most importantly, the relationship they have with themselves, especially for entrepreneurs. If you don't have that relationship with yourself, if you don't have that trust, where we started talking about, if you don't have that trust in yourself and trust your gut, you'll struggle. You'll have a hard struggle creating a business. So I just hope that I can be able to provide people some of those tools and a little boost and a little support. They can get through some of the stuff that I got through, but I didn't have, the help that I would have longed for. So that's my mission.
That's a big mission. I think it's a good one. And it's working well.
Yeah, like. So, are we going to stay on for another hour for the next audience?
I'm going to see what we're doing here. I was just going to go out to the chat. So, those of you that are with us, is anybody out there that has any questions for Gary? Now would be a great time to post it into the chat while he's here. You don't get very often that you get to pick an expert's brain and not pay hundreds of dollars an hour for it. So, very good. We'll give it a couple seconds to see if we have any questions. We do have some viewers that are here hanging out with us. So I can see that. We have 18 people watching us here live through the Facebook group. And then we have 3 who found us on Google+.
Well, that's another amazing thing is, and there's a story. I haven't used Periscope yet or Blab, but I know that it was about a year ago, somebody introduced me to be a guest on their Periscope.
Yeah.
And so I met them down in St. Pete, where there was a restaurant. They had a whole thing set up. And they said, well, right before we go on, say, well, why don't you simulcast this?
Yes.
And I had never done anything on Periscope before. So she had an established show, is probably like her 8th or 9th episode. And she was happy she got 15 or 20 people watching. But because of my audience on Twitter, I turned it on, no promotion. There were 300 people watching, because it just came on and people were looking at it. So I don't know if it's a name recognition because I didn't title it. So, I think there are people that are really hungry to be able to watch that videos. And again, it gives them another connection that they can see us face to face. They can hear our voice. They can feel our heart and what we're saying, and being able to utilize those tools. And, that's what you're doing, is to be able to help give people that confidence to get their story out on video. That's going to be the decision maker for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Going forward, I think you had some amazing statistics on what the percentage of video researches, marketing aspects are going to be coming up.
Yeah, it's just going to grow. I mean, now we've got Facebook Live and Periscope and Blab, and who knows what else is coming along. Tonight we're on Hangouts, which is broadcast live simultaneously. We're in 3 locations broadcasting live. Well, 4 if you count the space that we're in physically, for real. But with this broadcast setup that I have here, we're broadcasting live in Google+, we're broadcasting live in YouTube, and we're broadcasting live in the Facebook group, all at the same time.
Yep. And so YouTube is just amazing, because you just go out there and you'll probably get hundreds of hits probably by the morning, right?
Yeah. So with this, we go back after the broadcast is over, and then the strategy is that you would go back to your YouTube video and open up the editor, and then you would keyword optimize this Hangout to include a better description, better tags for the keywords and all of that. And then within minutes of that, you will be ranked in the YouTube search engine, because YouTube actually favors Google Hangouts in the search. It's kind of like a bonus.
Well, yeah, they're kind of married at the hip, so it makes sense.
Yeah, Hangouts, Google, the whole 9 yards. But you'll see this when you use your proper tags and your proper search, that this Hangout will be in YouTube and searchable in the search engine to people that we don't know within a few minutes.
Yeah, so that's amazing. That's one of my projects. I wanted to do a series of Twitter tips, and just to be able to do some, 2-3 minute little Twitter tips going through there. So you probably need to go look back at some of your material and find a green screen so I can have a varying background.
Nah, you're fine the way you are.
Okay, it's good.
Just do it the way you are. Just come as you are.
Okay.
Start with Periscope, because that's your playground. Periscope saves the video, and then you can later upload the video to YouTube and Facebook.
So was there something that they only save it? Periscope only saves for a short period of time before you have to go in there to
Periscope itself is the link to the Periscope video is only available for a few hours, limited. I think it's 24 hours or 48 hours after you broadcast. However, you get the opportunity to save it to your phone. We used to have a system called Catch Me, which was a website that you would sign up for, and then the Catch Me website would give you a link that would live forever for your Periscope, but Catch Me went out of business this week.
So there must be somebody gobbled them up.
Not sure what happened there. They had sent out a notice that everybody needed to save their videos off the server because they were shutting it down.
But it's just an amazing thing, and just the few times that I've been on videos and gone through there, and somebody did a little animated video for me, just with those whiteboard kind of things with different characters and stuff. We just have it up there. I haven't been promoting it or anything else, but people will go in there and watch it, and they'll make comments on it. Yeah,
I love your Twitter tips. If you want, you can schedule a strategy session with me.
Cool.
And we'll figure out the steps and the strategy. I'll give you a map of exactly what to do in what order.
Okay, good.
Because you need to be out there. You're too smart.
And we got to get. We talked more than a year ago about expanding your Twitter, so it's already cost you some speaking gigs. So we need to talk, right?
It did. I'm moving. I am moving. Before Christmas, I was at 500, and I'm just almost 6,000 now.
That's good.
So I'm moving.
Well, there are some tools, the free tools that people can do to be able to, find targeted followers is Tweepi, TWEEPI.com. That's great, especially their free version if your account is small, because you can go. There's a lot of different following possibilities that you can do there, but they have filters. So you can go in there and say, hey, I want to go follow Gary's followers. So you put in there, I want to follow Gary's followers. Then you can add other filtering criteria to be able to say, okay, I want to find, people who have tweeted within the last 4 days, people who have more than 3,000 followers. And, and so you could be able to go there. And so you can go into my list and start following people who I'm following.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can be able to get more targeted kind of stuff, because it's important to be able to look to see, is your audience within somebody else's audience?
Yeah.
And go and connect with them. And you're not stealing my followers. You're just borrowing them. You're giving them another option to come and watch you. So you're going to follow them, and to be able to unfollow them with the free version, you can go to use manageflitter.com. Their free version of Manage Flitter, you can only be able to flush out people who aren't following you back. And their paid version is only like $24 a month, but you can be able to follow and unfollow. So if you're having a larger account, for me to be able to keep adding ones, I had to be able to go to the paid version. Plus, it's something else that I do for clients, is to try to be able to help build their audience, is to be able to use some of those tools. So those are two valuable tools that people can use to keep their account clean. Because Twitter just changed that. It used to be you could follow anybody up until 2,000 followers. Now they've expanded that 2,000 to 5,000. So when you first start on Twitter, you can follow as many people as you want up until 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Then once you're following 5,000 people, there has to be a 10% ratio of people who are following you back. So 10% of 5,000 is 50. So what? So you need 4,950 need to be following you back in order for you to be able to add one more person. So I always suggest, while you're growing, is you want to be able to flush out people who aren't following you back, who haven't tweeted in a long time. And it's kind of like you're having a holiday dinner and you've got seating for 5,000. But about a third of those people aren't showing up. They haven't tweeted, and that's the average. About a third of the Twitter accounts that you'll follow will be abandoned within a couple months. And so you want to flush them out, because there are people waiting at the door who want to come in and be able to dine with you and be able to pick your brain or share your energy. So you want to be able to flush those people out who aren't engaged in a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
Just be able to do it. Those tools are valuable. So if people want to know more about that, I've got lots of blogs. You can listen to a lot of my other shows, or just contact me, and you'll put the links up. They're pretty self-explanatory tools, but strategies are got to keep going, so people see that you're active and you're growing it more. Because if you don't have any followers, people won't follow you. It's kind of like that, the empty parking lot syndrome.
It's not a good restaurant if there's no cars in the lot.
Right. So you have to have followers. You have to have good tweets, and that's another attraction for people to come and want to learn what you got. So that's just some of the tools.
Yeah. So we do have a comment from Catherine. She says, I missed a lot of this being I have company. I want to share that I did attempt suicide in 2014, but I am here to share. I am doing great, and I love learning from all of you. I am growing myself in all that I do by following all of you. So thank you so much to you. Oh, Catherine, we are so glad that you're still here with us. We need you.
It's an honor.
We need you. Yep. The world needs you and what you have to say.
Yep. Oh, it is. And it's, it's a very valuable thing that with Catherine's experiences or all of our other experiences, they can be used as tools and lessons to be able to help other people. I believe that we experience everything that we do because there's a higher purpose to it. There's a
Yep.
seed of good within every experience that we go through, and we can find that seed and be able to utilize it to be able to help improve the lives of other people. We know that we're going to make the world a better place, and it just takes one. It just takes just a little bit. I think if you just reach 5% of the population of whatever you want to be able to do, you can start creating momentum and create change.
Yeah, massive. And now you can do it on platforms that are free, like Twitter and Facebook and broadcasting and all of those things. Never in history has there been a way that you can reach everyone in the entire world instantly. We're seeing a
Yeah,
lot of
and it's just
change
going
right
to get
now.
it's even going to be more because I know some of the cell phone companies are really being able to look at getting a lot of product into Africa. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of hungry entrepreneurs from Africa who are reaching out and are hungry to be able to learn, and they're emulating, and a lot of them don't have, the ones that I've run into don't have the money to be able to purchase coaching, but they're watching every tweet, they're reading every
Yep.
blog.
Yep.
So there are huge markets in those underdeveloped countries and continents that are just massive. So again, if you have a global or a digital product that can be released, the whole world is your opportunity to sell. You're no longer limited. If you open a Subway shop, you've got a 15-minute radius on people who are going to come to be able to buy your sandwiches.
Yeah.
You're not getting any. You're not going to. Who's driving more than 10, 15 minutes to go get a sandwich? But here, again, no brick and mortar, no limitations. We can go everywhere. We can attract the people that we really want to work with, and we can be able to choose to not work with people that we don't want to.
Yep. It's amazing. It's amazing. So we do have a question here from Gary Kissel. Now, Gary is our resident expert on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I just saw his name in the group. Hi, Gary.
Yeah. So he is asking a question. He wants to know if responding to direct messages the best way to engage on Twitter.
I wouldn't do it as a first date.
Yeah.
Keep it public. DMs are still, there's a lot of spam, there's a lot of automation, and there's
Yeah.
probably the vast majority of people don't even check their DMs.
I gave up checking my DMs because it was just junk, just selling, like hundreds of selling messages.
About a year and a half ago, it's different. So it's really cut down. So the amount of spam that I'm seeing in mine is, and I'm viewing mine through Hootsuite, but I get a lot of good messages that come through there, and there's very valuable things. So people, but again, it's not the first date. So we've already had some conversations through the public stream, and so if they're looking for some more personal advice, then they go to DMs. But if your first reach is to go through DMs, it's not going to be very successful.
Yeah.
Very small if you get any success at all. But do some public dating. And here's another key. I haven't talked about this for a while, but there are basically, there's 3 different types of tweets that you can do. One is a DM, which is a direct private message between just 2 people. And DMs now have expanded where you have 10,000 character limits. So you could write novels in DMs now, but it's a private message.
Yeah.
On your regular stream, you have a public message and a semi-private message. The semi-private message is if you start out by doing @JessBrace, and in my message, hey, great to be on the show, you and I and our shared followers are going to see that message. So it's a very limited scope when you start out with the @ thing. But if I say, Thanks, Jess at Jess Brace. Thanks for the show, Now that becomes a public message, and the entire Twitterverse is able to see it.
Ah,
So if you're looking to be able, so some of our conversations that we're having, they can be coaching, they can be semi promotional, or that's not the best word. Other people will find benefit from what we're sharing. So if I'm having a conversation with you, somebody else may benefit from that same information. So put somebody's name in front of their Twitter handle. So one, that makes it a public message. Two, it creates a better rapport. Because don't you respond better that if somebody writes Jess on your messages than as opposed to just not acknowledging you by name?
right. Exactly.
So it's a little Dale Carnegie thing. The most beautiful sound to somebody else's ears is the sound of their own name.
Absolutely.
So just look for a way. It's a great way to be able to personalize it, and it gets your message out to a bigger audience, and you can be able to attract new people from that. And if you're strategic, and if it's about coaching or something else, then use a hashtag on where you want that conversation to be found.
Awesome. That's good advice for sure. Is there something with a dot that you're supposed to use a period when you respond or something?
Some people do that as a dot because as long as the first character of the tweet is not the @ sign, it becomes a public message.
Aha. Okay.
So a dot is a kind of a cheat on how to be able to get it out into the public. But we want to go the extra mile. Add somebody's name, add something on there, because for people who've been there for a while, we just know that it's a cheat, and you're lazy and you want more attention, but you're not willing to be able to really extend yourself.
I get it. Yep. I was wondering because I saw it with the dot and I was like, well, what are they doing that for? Did they have a typo? Did they have trigger finger? What's happening here?
No, it's just a cheat.
Yeah, like you can hit Alt 0160 and it makes a blank space.
You just use a space bar too, but that's what. Yeah. But I like it if you just put it in there, just hi Jess.
Yeah.
And just make it, because it's just one, it connects with you and it connects with the rest of your audience, seeing that you're personable. So again,
absolutely.
What we said, every tweet's an audition.
I love that. It's tweetable.
Yeah.
One strategy that's great is sit down and think about the things that you say in your business over and over again. Like every tweet is an audition, or for me, it's the best camera to have is the one that you have with you. And make those tweets, automate them with the software that Gary was just talking about and put it in there. And then that stuff will just go out and you can start to fill that 20 tweets a day. Minimum requirement. Yeah.
And, as you go on, I've got a notebook. Next to the TV, because I'll write down stuff that I'll hear on conversations on television. Oh, I like that. I like that phrase. So I got it, and I'll hit pause on the TV and write that tweet down. That's where a lot of the first Just for Today affirmations came from. We were coming back from a vacation in North Carolina, and we got Prince, we got Chicago, we got Bruce, playing CDs on the car, and then so I just get Carol, get a piece of paper. And so, Chicago, make me smile. Okay, just for today, I'm going to make somebody smile. Just for today, I'm going to spend more time in the park. Just for today, I'm going to party like it's 1999. It's kind of the stuff. And so it's just, inspiration is just all around us. And I think, we talked about that before. I've got mega lists of emails and links that I found that are Twitter related or coaching related. I didn't want to share, but I wanted to be able to keep, because I can be able to write my own material on my perspective of what they wrote.
Mm-hmm. Swipe files.
Yeah. So it's just a whole link or anything else. So I'm just going to get back to it. And so, even thought about doing videos so I could be able to read it and be able to do a 3-minute kind of synopsis of that, or my impression of it. and just be able to do it. So, we're never lacking for material, especially now. So, when I see people saying, oh, how to get over writer's block. Yeah, well, just read your tweets. And there's going to be read somebody else's tweets. Go through there. You're going to find lots of things that are going to spur something for you to be able to tweet about, for you to make a video about, to write a blog about it. There's just endless.
Yeah, it's endless ideas. The only limitation is the space between your ears.
and how much time you allow yourself to be able to do it. So you have to be able to.
Yeah.
So what my step is, okay, so I've got collected thousands of links. I got to start carving out some time where I can be able to take a couple of them a week, read them, and prepare something to do.
Yeah. Probably your fastest way is just video, because you talk. Yep.
So how would you suggest, as long as we're doing this, and we'll just sort of a blended show?
Sure. Anything goes, and anything goes in my broadcast. You never know what you're going to get. Our resident gorilla is not in today, but.
So just share with everybody on how they could be able to find a link for a blog or an article that they'd like, that resonated, but they want to make it into their voice. What are some of the quick steps to be able to pull their phone out and go, hi, I'm.
Yeah. I mean, it really, start with whatever you're comfortable with. If you don't want anyone to see it, record it on your phone and don't put it anywhere. Just use the record button and save it right to your phone, and then do what you wish with it. If you don't like it, delete it and you're done. But you know what? At least you made a video. It's a muscle, just like tweeting, just like Facebook, just like anything that you do, it's a muscle that you need to exercise and try out and do stuff with. So, with that, pick up the phone, record something and delete it. In fact, I have an email that I send out, which is the 5-day delete me challenge. And so every day I give you a topic to talk about on video, and then I want you to erase it. And what that does is the questions that I'm asking you are bringing you through different exercises to help you build that video muscle of what you need to be to be comfortable on camera. So it's fun.
But I haven't gotten all the way through the course because something else came up, but I got through the 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And the package that you put together was very affordable, and it was just a simple thing, and I recognized it was expanding your comfort zone. Get your phone out, start talking, start doing it, and that's all you need to be able to do. So that's great advice. Get the program.
Yeah, people, they'll make stories up to justify, like, oh, I have to have a studio, or I have to buy that selfie stick she was talking about before I can make a video, or I have to have a topic, or I'm not ready to be on a broadcast, or I shouldn't do a summit, or all of these things, and those are not the truth. So you need to ask yourself, what is the truth for you of why you're not doing these tweets, or why you're not on social media, or why you're not broadcasting, and then just do it. Nobody's going to eat you. Nobody's going to bite you if you make a video on your phone right here and then delete it and erase it. Nobody has to see it, but you may surprise yourself. What if you surprised yourself and the video was actually pretty darn good? Because I bet you're pretty smart. To get as far as you have already, you must be pretty smart. So why not just take a few more steps?
Well, even being able to look at that, because I thought about musicians.
Yeah.
So I thought about the Beatles. So, what did they do? They started out and they were just, kicking around. John had his first bands and stuff going on there, and they came through there, and they were just playing little church. They played in a garage. Mm-hmm. Then they went to play at church festivals, and they went and grew, and then they worked real hard and did all the bars and went to Hamburg and did all of those other things before they got noticed. So, they became that overnight success. That was in 1963. McCartney joined in 1956. So they had 7 years that they were banging around before they got that stage.
For an overnight success. Yeah, I know.
And it's something else, with Prince's passing, they're talking now about that his library of unreleased music far exceeds the stuff that he put out.
Yeah.
And so just to look at that, it's like, okay, just go out there, and if you can find a way to be able to save it all, it's great. And look at it, because if it does have some value and the timing may not be right, put it out there. But I also found that even with my blogs, and videos will fit right in with that, is I wrote blogs 5 years ago that I still keep in rotation. Just keep reusing the content, putting it out there.
Yep.
Because just because I went through it 5 years ago doesn't mean that somebody else isn't going to see it today, and it's going to be the most important thing that they need to see right now.
Absolutely. And with videos on YouTube, you can take a video that you posted on YouTube a while ago. You can repurpose that video in different ways. One is you can give the SEO a refresh, which a lot of people don't realize on YouTube. So if you've had a video that's been there for a while, it's ranked, it's really not generating a lot of buzz anymore, you can go back into the video editor and reset the keywords, reset the description, reset your title, and it'll give it a
Find
whole
a new audience. Yeah. Excellent.
refresh in the search engine. Or you can take an older video that you have and add a new beginning to it, or a new end, or hey, since I made this video, here's some new thoughts on it, and add on to it. Very easily done.
Yep. And we've done that because a lot of those early blogs that I did, we didn't put images in it. So now Carol was putting images in all of them. So she's going through, and so there's a little rewrite. So words didn't flow as well as we're speaking now. So you can be able to upgrade the voice a little bit and change some of the grammar problems, add some things on there, and Google likes that better because now it's a fresh content. You're not putting the exact same thing up again.
Absolutely. So, fantastic. This is off topic, but on topic. And I was looking it up. Stock Unlimited, speaking of images, is offering a lifetime membership to their image and vector stock library for only $49. And it's unlimited downloads of whatever images you want to use. And they're pretty darn good. I just picked that up today because I am a stock photo collector doing the work that I do. And it gets outrageous, especially with Dollar Photo Club going out of business.
Yeah, you can do. I know Carol uses, because of her work as a graphic artist, she uses Pixabay.
Yeah.
She said it's always free.
Yeah, there's a free one. And in different levels. Stock Unlimited is super high res graphics, like giant. Okay. So it's excellent for doing print. A lot of times you'll use a free image, and then what happens is you'll use a free image, and then later on you're like, oh, I would like to print that on something, like on a banner or on a book or a postcard or something, and then the image is too small.
It's too small, too grainy, so it doesn't transfer to different mediums. Okay.
Yeah, because you can make a picture smaller, but you can't take a smaller picture and make it bigger, otherwise it gets blurry.
Yep. Cool. Yep.
So.
All right, so we got more questions. What else do we want to share? Otherwise, we'll have to start charging people, because we're dumping a lot of valuable information.
I know. Catherine just said she signed up for your mailing list.
Excellent.
Yay. And Carol says that she has 3 places that she can use for images that are free. So she's actually posting them in the comments, which is fabulous for that. Because it's, stock art, if you're creating your memes and images. Now, what about images on Twitter?
What I've seen is the numbers will show you that you're going to get 35 to 40% more engagement with a picture. So some kind of meme and just going through there. So that's what we're going through that right now is putting our Twitter tips and putting my just for today affirmations. We're putting those on pictures.
Yes, I have something that's pretty darn cool, and I'm going to tell you the name of it right now. If you want to create memes, I use it all the time in my business, and I'm looking up the name for it. I thought I had it on my desktop. Mm-hmm. If you saw my desktop, you'd laugh. You can tell when I'm really busy with projects because my desktop gets really busy and then I can't find anything.
I don't do that. I just probably have like 17 documents open down on the bottom of the screen. So
yeah. It is called Social Media Quoter. And it's a tool where you upload like an Excel spreadsheet of your quotes, and then you upload, you tell it where your folder is with your images, and then it goes ahead and makes all the memes for you. It like merges them and auto does it. It's a super tool.
Oh, okay. So it's an automated thing. So you just have your folder, your document.
Yep.
Quote.
So you have you upload an Excel spreadsheet of your quotes into the system, like a CSV file.
Right.
And then you have a folder on your computer with all of your images that you want to use, and then it creates the memes for you. So like I create like a branded background for my business, and then it will go in and put all the words and make it fit and do all that for you automatically.
Okay, so even if you had like 5 backgrounds and you wanted some variety, within the same kind of theme.
Yeah, you would just put them in the folder, and then it'll rotate through. It randomly picks them and rotates through.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, super time saver.
It'll save Carol a ton of time.
Because you just create that background image, your branded background images that you want to use. I mean, if you want to have your memes like super targeted, there's no way around that. But like I have it, that my memes with my quotes are standard background because it's branded for my business, and then this just puts all the quotes in it for you.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Good.
It's like $20. It's a good software.
Well, yeah, if that just saves you 1 hour, right?
Yeah.
It saves you an hour. It's paid for yourself. Everything else after that is bonus. Okay, so what should we go? Where should we go next?
Does anybody else have any questions? Now, are you seeing more video besides Periscope popping up in Twitter?
Not so much. Not that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Some of the people that are on my lists are hosting blabs. Some of the Periscope broadcasts that were going out there has seemed to wash down a little bit. So
Periscope's having a little trouble.
Okay.
With I don't really know what you would call them per se, but they're hecklers who
trolls.
Yeah, trolls, hecklers, pervs. They just join in and show up on your broadcast and give everybody a hard time and is rude and disgusting in some cases. And then they go away. So you kick them out, but they get a kick out of coming and just trashing your broadcast. And it's become a problem with Periscope quite a bit. And now it's kind of infectious into Blab.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
at least in Blab, they can't get on the screen, but you can be able to. But that's part of things. I'm sure they'll set some filters. I heard one person that had a Periscope was going up, and some people just sort of took over their broadcast.
Yep, I had that happen to me. I was on a Blab, and I didn't really care. I was testing to see if you could do a screen share on Blab. And I was messing around with some different things in the video, and my title of my Blab just said testing software, and I listed it as, I'm just testing software. And these 3 guys came in from Pakistan and started talking to me. And then the next thing I know, they changed the title of my Blab and then kicked me out, like just wouldn't let me talk. It was really weird. Like, what's your point? So I just closed the whole Blab, like, whatever, if that gets, is how you want to spend your time.
Wow. So I just wonder if there's any other protection or if there's anything else. So have you found that with Facebook Live or Google Hangouts? Do they have some of those trolling issues?
It's a little different because with Periscope and Blab, they ask to come in on camera, and you don't know who they are per se until you allow them to turn their camera on. They can be in the chat and be annoying without being invited, but to be on camera, they have to be invited. Now with a Hangout, it's interesting because with a Hangout, all they need is the link that gets broadcast, and then they can pop in and out. So it's kind of weird how it works with that. But with Periscope and Blab, they'll ask to turn on the camera, and then if you turn on the camera, then they're annoying, pretty much. But with Facebook Live is a little different because it's one person on Facebook Live, you, and then people can only interact with you through the Facebook comments. You can't have anyone else on camera with you yet. That's why I'm not a huge fan of Facebook Live, because I feel like it's a one-way talking to a wall type broadcast right now. It's a little bit annoying.
So probably one of the key things is to be able to do your Blab Periscope things when some of those trolls would normally be in bed. So if you have experience from a different country,
Yeah,
find out when they're sleeping, and then you do your broadcast. Because the beauty of it, if it's going to be video, you'll have it archived, and you're going to get more people who are going to listen to the rebroadcast and find it in your catalog than who may listen to it live.
yeah, and it even happens on Facebook in different ways with the trolls, which is becoming an internet thing. We even in this group, in the She Broadcast group, which is just almost 3 weeks old, we had someone come in who is on my email list, who attended my summit, who tried to buy a copy of the replay of my summit, but their credit card was declined, and we had a little bit of email interaction on their, trying to sort that out. And then they were following me on Facebook. They were liking my tweets and retweeting. And so, we can see the activity. They had a unique name. That's how I recognized all of that. So he asked to join the group. He was vetted. We saw that, he was there. We let him into the group. And the next thing you know, he's adding over 100 fake accounts to the Facebook group. Like, he just added all these names, like 100 people in a day. And when we looked at the accounts, they were fake accounts, like spoof accounts on Facebook. And I was like, what's the purpose? What is your purpose? And then he starts posting spammy posts in the group. And then he starts sending me Dropbox invites to the admin email address. And I'm like, why are you spending so much time on this? For what? What is your end goal? It just doesn't make sense.
To take over your group. To take over your group.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like, what's the point?
Do they think that they're going to take over your group and
do what?
and do what? Because your group is connected with you, and they're attracted to your voice. And if you're not there, and your face and your energy is not there, they're not going to listen to me the same way, because they came here attracted to you.
Yeah, the whole thing was just like just a massive waste of time. Like, I don't know why anyone would spend their life doing that. Because I don't see where you would have any end result. It's kind of like those people now on Facebook that are like, they'll copy your account. Have you seen this, Gary? They'll copy your account, they'll use your photo, they'll set up another Facebook account with your name, and then they start friending your friends with this new fake account that they control, and you have no idea. And then all of a sudden they'll start instant messaging when your friends accept the new invitation. They'll start instant messaging them, asking them if they want to consolidate their student loan. Like, what? Like, how many clients do you think you actually are going to get from that kind of strategy?
Well, it's the same. Even on Twitter, that's why I spend this much time talking about relationships. So it's all the white hat kind of things, because there's a lot of people who are going through a lot of those ways, and they're doing things because they can. You just wonder about the energy. Because there's, if you and I had that much extra time to be able to do that, how much better would our products be? How many more people would we be able to serve? But not everybody is thinking that same way. And again, that's, I think, where Twitter is great, is it gives us that opportunity to share ourselves, to share a little bit of our soul and our mission and our passion, and so people can connect and say, hey, this is who I am. Come and attract me.
Yeah.
And I think in time it'll all balance off. It's just the old sales tactics of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It worked for a while. Sunday newspaper, all the ads. You put an ad in the Sunday newspaper or in the Yellow Pages, you were golden.
Yeah.
Now, how many people have looked at your Yellow Pages? And you probably get three editions of Yellow Pages delivered to your door every year. And what do you use it for? paperweights, book stop, door stops. So it's not there. The whole world's changed, and you've got to look at some new ways, but still be able to hold on to the successful ways that still work with the relationship marketing that's such a going to be such an important feature going forward.
Yeah.
I think in time they're all going to fade away and disappear. They may not necessarily go away a lot, but they give us good examples because we can talk about that and we can be able to differentiate ourselves and say, okay, this is bad and this is why we're good. So we're giving people an opportunity to be able to do it. We can learn from all of that stuff. That's just the amazing part of it.
I know. It's really, we're living in a super connected world, and it's exciting because, at no time ever has it been that, you can have a cell phone, which everyone has anyway, and run an entire successful business and talk to anyone in the world anywhere. Like, that's never been possible, but now it is, and it's easy.
Oh yeah, or even to be able to take credit cards over your phone.
Yeah. Yes. I have Wells Fargo, and people freak out because they're like, can I send you a check? I'm like, sure. Just take a picture of it with your phone and text it to me. And they're like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, I have text deposits with my bank. I just text a picture to my bank and it deposits it. Wow. So my clients are like, oh, what?
That's even a step beyond. It's just even Square, because I realized one of the things that I came up with was one of my clients didn't want to be able to use their PayPal to pay for my stuff. They wanted to use a credit card, and the way that their account was set up or my account was set up, they couldn't use their credit card where they wanted to get miles by paying through PayPal.
Right.
So pull out the laptop, pull out the iPad, bring up the Square, punch in their number. He agreed. Says, okay, it's going to cost you 3% more. Just charge me 3% more, and we go through there and up, and it's in the account. So that's just an amazing thing that we got access to be able to do it, and it's just going to probably get simpler on time.
Yeah. Have you signed up for your PayPal Me address?
No.
So PayPal Me is a customizable PayPal address that you can just tell people. So it's PayPal.me/Jessica Brace. And then they can enter in whatever amount they have to pay and just pay me. And that link never changes.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, you can sign up for it. It's free and it connects right to your PayPal account. And you can choose whatever name you want to have your account be. And you can even put like PayPal.me/Jessica Brace and then /500. And then when they click on that link, it will automatically enter in for them to pay you $500. So you can leave it blank and they can fill it in themselves, or you can define how much they pay you.
Oh, okay. Because if you're doing some of those things, but I suppose you still would have to invoice it or set up a product identification if they're wanting a receipt, or if they need any tax purposes, because you're not probably going to get a receipt or an itemized what they bought, right?
Yeah, well, they won't get an itemized receipt, but I just fire them back an email later with the PayPal receipt and say, hey, thanks, you're confirmed for, and then whatever it was that they purchased.
Oh, excellent. Okay, good.
Yeah, super easy way, because that way you're out and about. Like I had it the other day, someone called me on the phone and they're like, hey, I want to sign up for a video session. Can I pay you right now? And I'm in the car and I'm driving, and it's a credit, I can't take a credit card over the phone. I'm like, oh yeah, just go to this address right here and just pay. You'll be taken care of. So.
Well, you get a lot of business in a car, so we gotta.
I do. That's why I bought a Prius. We just cashed in our Prius a few months ago because it had over 250,000 miles on it. So we have a new Prius.
Well, you had a lot of trips off to Boston, didn't you? So you got a lot of miles.
I do. I drive a lot. We go to Disney World a lot. And we're an adventure family. So I really want my sons to explore the world. So we spend a lot of time doing adventures in our car.
Excellent. Okay. So,
and I've done a few webinars in my car too. One time my internet went out and I didn't know what to do, and I called Comcast and they said that it would be a few hours, and it was right before a webinar that I had paid as a sponsor to be on, and I was like, I am not going to let this stop me. So I literally drove my car as close as I could to the McDonald's building, and then I did my webinar with my laptop sitting on the dashboard of my car, my Yeti microphone plugged into an inverter on my lap, and everyone's coming in and out of McDonald's giving me a thumbs up and waving and cheering as I'm on this webinar.
Cool. Good. Hey, so to tell us a little bit, I know because we're going all over the place. What was the result of your Perfect Client Attraction Summit? So what are some of the things that you learned as far as the business aspect about hosting the summit and going through all the steps that you went through?
So hosting the summit was, the video part of it was easy for me because it's something that I've done many times before. The interviews, the systems, the processes for that. You definitely need help for managing a summit. It's quite a bit of work getting the summit ready, because not only do you interview, like I had 22 people that I interviewed, which was 22 hours of interview time, but the process beforehand of getting all of the information from the speakers, gathering their bios, their photos, their topics, their free gifts, sorting all of that, and then building the website with all of those pages so that the videos can be housed later. So it was quite a bit of work to do a management of a summit. I would highly recommend hiring someone who is skilled in that. We had a couple pitfalls in hiring people with that. So, and then 1 week into my summit, I found my dream summit manager client after my summit was halfway over. So it's all good. It really worked for exposure. In all, I brought just a little over 544 new subscribers to my email list, which for a summit of that size was really low. It should have been around 2,000 on average. So we had some issues. Gary, you were one of the top promoters and you did it all with Twitter. But the biggest lesson that I learned was the people that I partnered with. I had followed a formula from someone who taught summits that says they have to have a list and this and that. A lot of the people who were speakers, the way a summit works is that the speakers are to promote the summit event, and we all co-promote together and all of that. But what happened is some of the speakers didn't promote at all. So they neglected their contract that they had signed with me. So it wasn't the expectations numbers wise for my list or sales numbers wise for replays that we had set as our goal. However, the things that have come from that afterwards, as far as exposure, has been fantastic. So I've been invited to speak in Italy at Lake Como this summer because they saw my summit. I was interviewed for a consultant position with Marcus Lemonis from The Prophet, and they commented that they saw my summit and they thought that it was beautiful and very well put together. I also had an opportunity with a very huge client this week to come on board as their funnel manager. And her assistant had signed up for the summit and followed through and showed her a few clips and said that I had the right energy for what they were looking for.
Oh, excellent. Cool.
So yay, yeah. So not the summit email numbers per se, or the projected replay sales per se that, they all talk about when you do a summit and all that, but the aftermath of what has happened in the exposure and all of that. And, the invaluable lessons that I learned from the summit in what it takes to do a summit, what can be done better, what worked, what didn't work. I'm a numbers person. I love building video funnels and working with everything video. So we drill down the numbers, like how many people clicked on this, how many people watched the video, what videos did they watch? Did they watch it until the end? We knew all the numbers of everything that was going on with the summit. And, you know, there's some tweaks and things that I know next time when I do that to make it even better.
Cool. You know, and what you talked about, I think was the huge point was the initial response. It wasn't what you were projecting,
Yeah.
but the aftermath was way beyond what you had ever anticipated.
Again, it was a lesson in who's watching.
Right. So
who's watching?
Those watching, you don't know who you're doing, so that's why you got to keep going that extra mile and do those things. And for the summits that I've been on, you know, I was impressed with your mailing and the information that you got, and that you provided tweets. You know, there's been a lot of summits and you know, that I went on who had a manager. They provided me one copy, one solo email to go out, no tweets, no second thing, no Facebook post or anything else. And I'm going, and I spent like 2 weeks trying to get in touch with them and say, hey, you got more material so I can be able to share this. And they couldn't share it. And then they, you know, so then they don't get any response. They don't get any kind of action at all or attendance on their event because they didn't provide all of the information. So, you know, what I heard you say too is, you know, how can you find a protection mechanism to ensure that people who say they're going to promote actually promote? So do you have to subscribe to their list so you could be able to make sure that it went out?
Yes, that actually was a part of the process, and every speaker also had their own individual link to share with the summit so that we could track how many people were clicking on their links and if there was any activity. So, you know, out of 22 people, 6 people promoted well. 2 more promoted fairly well, and unfortunately 12 didn't promote at all.
Wow.
Or very little. They had less than 10 people. So we tracked it by subscribers. So 12 of the 22 had less than 10 people register for the summit, and my goal was that each speaker should have 100. So it was a lesson, you know, in how to do that better. Yeah,
and it's, you know, just lessons along the way, and you can just be able to follow up. And so, you know, if they come back for the next summit, you just say, well, hey, we gotta find some way to be able to make this better going forward.
You know, what was really interesting is that the people who promoted the most and got the most of them had no email list size. They promoted with social media, like yourself on Twitter. Yep. And then we had someone else that
I sent a lot of tweets out through four different accounts. They did send out, my mailing list is not as large as a lot of people want it to be able to be, but we sent that out several times through that. But I get a lot more response on Twitter.
Yeah.
And to be able to go out there. So, you know, one of the things that I always told people is, if you got 22 speakers, and it's like any other blog, you should have 2 or 3 tweets for every blog that you put out, because it's going to track different aspects.
Yep.
So every single speaker would have a tweet that would have their name, their segment title, another one about, you know, some aspect of their stuff. So you might even be able to ask them to write some of their own promo tweets, so it can be able to be shared, and you provide all the other things. Here's a library of all the tweets for all the speakers, because then it's just, all you gotta do is add your link and put it in a scheduler and go.
Yeah, I know. Super easy. Edit, replace with your link and load it in the scheduler. That's what I thought. You know, it was a lot of learning in that the people that were invited were really good at what they did, but not good overall at promoting, which is part of what it takes for a summit. So now I know next time to ask better questions.
Well, but that's another reason for, you know, another business lesson. Do what you do best, hire the rest. So
yeah.
Those people obviously are doing where their business has grown, and if they suck at something, then you got to hire somebody to be able to do that.
I actually had I had my summit evaluated by someone, and one of the suggestions that she had, which would totally made sense, was, hey, put it in your contract that your virtual assistant will log in and schedule all of this social media stuff for them into their account, or you can hand it to them, to their VA, but they have to have it scheduled as part of the process, or they can't be part of it.
I thought about that. I could do that. I did that for one summit. Is I actually, for the hosts and a couple other people, was actually compensated. So I set that up in my program. I got, could be able to run a short-term campaign. We loaded all the tweets, and they were directed to my accounts and to their accounts, and just on a rotating basis. And we got a lot of traffic from it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll offer that up. We'll provide that service for you next time, or anybody else.
Yeah, that's an amazing start. You need to get into another group there. It's called the M Community. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's by Jenny Wright. Jenny Wright is a person who manages summits for people. She's amazing. She's done over 160 summits where she built out the platform for people and managed the speakers and all of that. That's what she does. So she has a whole group there that's just dedicated to people who are either doing a summit or want to be on a summit.
Well, yeah, it's because I know that it's helpful. People got to be able to do it, and if it's easy, so all I need is your password to go in, and then once the summit's over, we'll stop tweeting, and you just change your password, and we don't.
So it might be an opportunity for you to go in there and talk about tweeting on summits and connect with Jenny and and offer that service, because man, that's valuable.
Oh yeah, especially because if you've seen it, a lot of people who aren't doing it. So so what they didn't do it. So let's take their choice out of it and say, okay, here's a service. So for an extra $5 or $10 or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Charge. Say, okay, $10 for each platform or whatever it is.
We'll set it up for you. So or just make it a requirement. Just
They won't do it, and we've saw it because I know when I did my blog talk show. I was great about promoting it and post-promoting it, but a lot of the guests never did it. I think, we just see it. They're just looking for a platform for themselves.
Yep.
And they look at doing it. And that's, it's a lot of people. That's just going to be a continued lesson that we have to be able to do. But, they show us who they are. And once people show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, I had some people that signed a contract and agreed to be in the summit. So we built all the marketing campaigns, all the graphics, the web pages, the landing pages, and did all of this stuff to promote them. And then when it came time for them to air, they canceled and said they no longer wanted to be part of the summit, even though they had signed a contract. So it wasted, I think it was 32 hours of graphic design and web design time that my team had put into making the summit that was wasted because people committed and then canceled.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really.
Yeah, do you still have it? You can still use it as a template, make a little changes to be able to repurpose it for something else?
Well, it was a lot of, so we had created the graphics for the posts and had already created the graphics highlighting and featuring that individual person, already put it into the scheduler, already built the web pages, already created the video bumpers. And then they were like, oh yeah, I don't have, two of them, we even did the interviews and had that recorded and done. And then they were like, oh, I don't have time to promote, so just take me out. It was frustrating.
Well, but here's another entrepreneur lesson, because I had somebody, we're providing tweet for you services. So we're providing their Twitter presence. And when people sign up for that, clearly states on the website, this is a 6-month commitment. Because it's going to just much time to be able to build the trust and go out there and start attracting the audience. But they canceled after a month.
Yeah.
And so the first part of me was going, oh, well, okay. But then there's another part of me that says, no, there was a 6-month commitment. So I wrote her back and said, okay, how are we going to work this out? I understand you want to do it a different way. So there were other services that they needed that we were able to provide. So we still got it. But, it's a different amount of labor intensity. But it's just
Yeah.
a matter of standing up for yourself and say, okay, so if you have a contract or you have an agreement, we have to be able to see our own value, and that's part of the mind mastery we started talking about 2 hours ago.
Yes.
Was to be able to go that and be able to own that and say, yeah, I'm providing a good service, I'm providing quality, I'm giving them more than what they're asking for, and this was part of it, and you just can't run away on me.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really frustrating. So it's all good. I learned. But we do have a question. Ronnie Allen, she says that she downloaded Managed Flitter, but it's not very user friendly on mobile.
Oh,
I don't know. I've only used it
oh,
on my
managed for
desktop. I use Managed Flitter. I have a paid account there too, but I've only used it on my desktop.
yeah. I I would just wait till you get home, get it up on the desktop, because you get the whole screens there, and you got so much more information.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's hard to do some things on an iPhone or a little screen phone. Like editing
Yeah,
video drives me crazy on my iPhone.
yeah. iPad's going. My iPhone, I had to go get different glasses to be able to read that, and so it's amazing. So some things transfer over there really well, but a lot of other
Yeah,
things don't. And so luckily
awesome.
luckily the desktop will never really go obsolete because of some of those things.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. They're making
Well,
jumbo iPads now.
who knows? But the thing of it is again, sitting at the desk, I saw something that's given me an incentive, because I've been sitting at the desk far too long, and they said that sitting is becoming the new smoking,
Yeah,
because I've gained a bunch of weight, and so I'm looking at my fluffy 50s are over. I'm going into my slender 60s, and so I'm gonna got to get up, start moving, vowing to be able to get outside and walk, and just be able to do some things. So yeah, I may even start up group, just a free group for people to be able to come, a free secret group for people to come into, so we can be able to support each other, trying to be able to get slender, whatever your age
yeah,
is. You can get super sexy, you can get whatever whatever it is that you need to be able to do, but just to be able to get smaller and get more active and do the things we need to do to make some better choices.
awesome. We are at time. It's now eight
Cool.
o'clock.
Good. Well, and we
And I
filled up
have little
we filled
little
up both
children at
hours
my
here.
door waving at me. Mommy.
Well, this is exception, and I know, because the little time snafu, but it's real easy to be able to find a lot of things to be able to talk about, and I hope that
Yeah, you and I could talk
everybody.
forever.
So yeah, it's just going to be amazing. So I want to be able to know all the SEO that you use on this, all the different topics that we covered.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Um, but anyway, so here we are, and we're gonna close out the video right now. But the comments box will still be open after the video ends. If you want to ask any more questions or anything, then go ahead and add it to the comments. And thanks, Gary, for joining us for tonight. And we'll see you soon.
Oh, it
Oh,
is a pleasure.
did
Appreciate
you have a
you.
gift?
Oh, well, I love to be able to share with people. So let's, have them email me at gary@garyloper.com. I'll get you a link to get on my calendar for a 30-minute consultation. So it's 30 minutes that we can talk one-to-one, either on the phone, Skype, or anything else. And we can talk about Twitter, or we can talk about relationships, we can talk about business, whatever you want. So let's just get together. And I just know that some of those consultations that I've had with people, if you pick up one idea for just investing 30 minutes of your time into a conversation with somebody, you could get a $20,000 idea, 100,000 idea, something that's going to be able to change the focus of your business or your life. So just email me, gary@garyloper.com. I'll send you the link to get on that calendar. Or what I'll do is I'll go in the chat room, and I'll put it up there as well. But we need to do it here.
Yep.
The video is going to be up there forever.
Yeah.
So
We will have it in the comments in Facebook and as well as in the comments in the YouTube channel when the video gets
So
uploaded there.
let's just do it that way. So email me, Gary@GaryLoper.com, and ask for the link for the free consultation. I'll get you the link, and you get on my calendar, and we'll set up a time, and we'll see how we can be able to help you and discover ways that we can continue working together if it's a good fit for everybody. So.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Gary. Have a great night. Bye, Carol.